Hi, welcome to Book Date, a Build a Book Boyfriend production. I'm your host, Lisette, but I'm also a romance writer, and I know that most writers are introverts and don't like to come out of their writing rooms. So it seemed only fair that if I'm going to ask other people to be on camera and be interviewed, I'm going to do that too. So I'm going to go through the questions that we ask readers on Build a Book Boyfriend and that I'm going to ask writers when I interview them and see how that goes and see what we can figure out, how my reading habits influence my writing habits. So first question we ask readers is, what is your favorite book? And I would say that my favorite book, my favorite romance novel, is Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. It's a Regency. It is a book that's near and dear to my heart for a whole lot of reasons that I'll get into. So, why is it my favorite book? Which is the second question we ask readers. It started my love affair for difficult women and men strong enough to love them, to the point that that actually became a tagline for my Regency series. And it also, were there other books? Because I started reading romance novels back in the rape-tastic years. Were there other books that had difficult heroines? Possibly. None of them actually shot the hero before they were engaged. Kind of that stands out. Lord of Scoundrels was near and dear to my heart. It was sort of the original. Can't really call it Grumpy Sunshine. He's definitely grumpy. She's not exactly sunshiny, but she's much more sunshiny than he is. She's doing all of the things that she's doing to keep her brother out of trouble, and he's doing everything he can do to get his brother into trouble. So it is this wonderful, fraught dynamic that still makes me happy. And it shows up in a lot of my books, and it shows up in a lot of the books that I read. Other books other series that I loved that sort of fall into that difficult women and men strong enough to love them are Courtney Milan's Brothers Sinister series. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Because the heroines are smart and dynamic and don't need just any man. They want the one they want. The other one were Tessa Dare's Spindle Cove series. They're wonderful. Because again, these are women who are like, yep, nope, I'm just going to be a spinster. That's fine. I'm good with it. And then they fall in love and the heroes earn it. They, gotta love a guy who earns earns your trust and earns that kind of devotion. And they definitely do. So, favorite book, why it's my favorite book. The tropes I love, which is the third question that we ask readers, is so for me, the tropes I loved forced proximity. Give me a book with just one bed and I am all in. Give me a Grumpy Sunshine, also all in. Even more fun, give me her being the grumpy and he's the sunshine. I love me a black cat, golden retriever story. Yeah. Not saying I relate to that a little too hard, but I might relate to that a little too hard. The other tropes that I love, beyond forced proximity and Grumpy Sunshine, I have a weird thing for secret babies and aliens. So the books that I'm reading now still have that difficult men strong enough to love them, except that the men are generally male and not men. Reading a lot of alien stuff lately. Reading a lot of shifters because I'm writing a shifter series. I don't tend to read the type of books, like if I'm writing shifters, I don't read shifters. They still keep bleeding in. And aliens is a lot of the fated mates. Fated mates is near and dear to my heart. I love that, because wouldn't it be so much easier in real life if you just saw somebody and went, oh my gosh, it's you, you're the one. And they looked at you and went, oh my gosh, you're the one. Yeah. Real life doesn't work that way. You gotta work for it. You gotta earn it. Even if you fall in love instantly, there's still so much more work that needs to be done. So those are my favorite tropes. As I said, the next question that we ask readers is, what are you reading now? Right now, the books that I'm reading fall into sci-fi and paranormal. So somewhat fantasy. They may be contemporary with magical realism elements. Always romance, though. Absolutely, positively, always romance. So with that, for Build a Book Boyfriend, we take all of that information, we crunch it, and we send it to Amazon to pick your top 5 favorite books from what they've got. And it's actually fascinating to play with. But the next question that we're going to ask authors, and just for authors, is, how does that affect your writing? How does all of that information that we would normally send to Amazon to find out the 5 perfect books for readers, how does all of that information influence writers for what they're writing right now? Well, as I said, I'm writing a shifter series, the Fated Mates series. Again, one of my favorite tropes, right in the title. So I've got a contemporary series. I've got a Regency series. I've got one standalone romantic suspense. And I'm writing a shifter mafia blend. Because how in this day and age do you have shifters when everything is computerized and our records follow us all over the world, and you're constantly on camera because all of this different stuff? To me, the only way it really would work is if you lived just the other side of the law. So they're sort of cinnamon bun mafia, but they are a shifter mafia sort of blend. And I've got to say, these guys kind of are near and dear to my heart. They're all strong. They're over the top protective. Also another favorite. But these women, the heroines, are like, I've got a perfectly good life. You what? You're not turning me into a werewolf. That also was important to me. I hated, there were so many books I read, going further back, as shifters, that the women didn't shift. It was like they didn't have any great change. The guys stayed shifters. The women were still just human women. It didn't make any sense to me. So my women shift. They become shifters too. They're just so much fun to write. I mean, they're just so much fun to write. And the first book is Reluctant Mate. She's probably autistic. Again, not something I know anything about. And doesn't really understand people. So she became a vet. Made perfect sense to me. And he was landed gentry English, got turned in Egypt when they were trying to find Tutankhamun's tomb. A bunch of them were part of the Howard Carter expedition. So it's fun. It blends a little history, light on the history, but blends a little history. He's 150 years old. He doesn't get any of her jokes. He doesn't, like, if she references something, if she references slang, or she's talking about, okay, Tarzan, he's like, oh, I loved that cereal. And she's like, the what? So it's a lot of fun to write. I hope it's as much fun to read. Book 2 is coming out April 1st, and book 1 will be wide shortly thereafter. But it is, I really hope that you enjoy it. I really hope that you pick it up, and the second book will be in Kindle Unlimited. But again, I love writing them. They're so much fun. Book 3 is a Russian lone wolf who's an old school romantic. So that's been, like, seriously, like, as a writer, you love all of your books because it's a little like being a mom. You love all of your children, but every once in a while, somebody will do something really wonderful, and you love that one just a little bit more in that moment. Right now, the Russian lone wolf, old school romantic, just is grabbing my heart. But they all do. I love all of them. So is there anything else we missed? Is there anything else I can tell you? I don't know. This is part of these first few podcasts. I'm still going to be figuring things out. I hope you'll bear with me. If you have questions, comments, things you want to see from authors, I really hope you'll get in touch. I'm everywhere on social media as Build a Book Boyfriend. So look me up there. I'm also on Substack. Look me up there. And as far as author stuff, I write as LC Giroux. And I hope you'll take a look. I think that's it. I'd love to hear from you, truly. So this has been Book Date. I'm your host, Lisette, and I really hope you'll check out Build a Book Boyfriend. It's a romance reader concierge service. You answer 4 questions, and we give you the top 5 best books that have the best possibility of being your next favorite book. I really hope that you will check it out at www.buildabookboyfriend.com. Thanks, and I hope you talk to us again. Thanks. Bye-bye.